Southern California, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Tonight we have ourselves a jam-packed show as we have a lot to get into after not being here for a week. The Chargers and the Rams do battle with one another in preseason. Yes, the NFL has returned, albeit being the preseason. Who will come out on top in this matchup that does not mean anything? I mean, we're just going to be seeing backups, so yeah. And the Dodgers are sizzling hot as they've won 11 in a row. However, their division rival, the Padres, could be in some boiling water. What did they do wrong? And how San Diego was it for the Padres to get in trouble? Also, we have, not basketball, but we have some soccer news as LAFC continues to tread in the right direction while the Galaxy continue to tread in the wrong direction. Also, we have not one but two dum-dums of the week, and we have so much more sports to get into when it comes to Southern California. Buckle it on up. Let's do this thing, as you are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. And welcome one, welcome all to another edition of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Thank you all for joining me on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Saturday wherever you are listening from. Either way, you have made your way to episode 99 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Without any further delay, let's get on into that Southern California goodness. Before we get into that, we have to go over some housekeeping, some other business. IE Sports Radio is basically the reason why the SoCal Supreme Sports Show is live. Without IE Sports Radio, we wouldn't be hearing myself on this platform. IE Sports Radio can be found on Twitter and on Instagram at IE Sports Radio, on TikTok at IE Sports Radio, and also on Facebook by typing in the word IE, then sports, then radio, even though people don't really use Facebook all that much. IE Sports Radio also has a website, www.iesportsradio.com, and when you go there, you'll see a Patreon link at the top, which starts out at $5 a month. This will get you a shout from all of our shows, including this one, and higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to IESRU, the podcasting university of IE Sports Radio, even a chance to be featured on IE Sports Radio's flagship show, The Defining Moment, in a small little segment with the one, the only Larry B. Because for the past 8 years and counting, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans and for the fans, and with your help, we are ready to take the next biggest step. Thank you to everyone for all of your support, and to everyone for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that sports. Shout out to our Patreon supporters, Bay Area Raised Apparel, Marcus Los Great, Key to the Gate, and a donor that wishes to remain anonymous. And with all that being said, let's get on with some SoCal sports action. First and foremost, I do want to apologize for not being here last week, as last week I had the NVA playoffs. Yes, the NVA playoffs, not the NBA playoffs, as it's National Volleyball Association playoffs, and basically it was my first ever time attending the NVA in person. In addition, I also got to basically, introduce myself, tell everyone what I'm all about, how I have Set Point as my podcast. And I even spoke a little about this one. I know SoCal Supreme Sports Show is a part of my lineup when it comes to shows, but Set Point is kind of my bread and butter. I mean, that's basically what I do. Mostly. That's kind of what I'm mostly known for when it comes to IE Sports Radio and when it comes to the NVA. Either way, yeah, last week I was at the NVA playoffs in San Bernardino, California, which, boy howdy, it was very hot. It felt like I was in an oven. The hottest I think it was like 104. I don't think it got that high, but it was well in the high 90s and low 100s. So I was like, oh boy. And being in a gymnasium, it was much better than being outside, but still, it was plenty hot. But I did have a lot of firsts. I, first and foremost, booked my own hotel, which I kind of talked about a couple on the last episode, where I probably could have gotten a room for much cheaper, but it is what it is. And then also, I was able to get my way from the hotel to the Pierce Sports Center in San Bernardino, which it's only one bus ride away, but next time I will just ask someone to give me a ride there, which everyone's pretty much going there anyway, so push comes to shove, I'm probably riding with the team, or worse comes to worse, I'm just riding with the team, and I'm squished. But either way, it was really fun. I really enjoyed covering the NVA, and I also enjoyed taking the picture of the team that won it all, the Las Vegas Ramblers. Unfortunately, Southern California's reign has come to an end when it comes to the NVA champions, as the Orange County Stunners fell to the Las Vegas Ramblers in straight sets. The Ramblers actually beat both Southern California teams that were in the playoffs. They beat the Los Angeles Blaze in the quarterfinals, and they beat the Orange County Stunners in the final. I gotta give credit to the Stunners. They did make it all the way to the finals. They were almost not even going to be in the semifinals. They were on the verge of being dead as a doornail when it comes to facing the Utah Stingers in the quarterfinals. Like, they were pretty much down for the count, but then one guy by the name of Shane Beamer, I think he went to UC San Diego, he brought the Stunners back to life, and Corey Chavers basically just willed his way to his team's victory. And eventually, the Stunners upset the New Jersey Freedom, as the Freedom were actually undefeated going into that game. But what truly matters is winning when it truly matters most, the playoffs. And also, the New Jersey Freedom didn't really serve and pass well, according to their head coach. That was another thing I got to do at the NVA playoffs. I got to interview the winning and losing team, and I even got to run an interview by myself. And as I said in my blog, speaking of which, Mike Pat was in the chat room. He says, Teran, good evening, sir. Hey, good evening to you too, Mike. You hope you have a great rest of the evening, if you're still listening. So, back to the NVA. I did get to run the post-game press conference, and also I got to take the camera apart, and I basically ran the camera. I basically asked the questions, and overall, it was a fun experience. And the NVA wants me back. Like, there's their head honcho, Nick England, who is the marketing and broadcast manager. He says he wants me back for next season, and I really look forward to returning. I want to return, and they said they'll figure out my travel expenses and maybe my hotel expenses. I think that would be great, because booking hotels, man, that is expensive stuff. But either way, that was my weekend in the NVA. I actually wrote a blog, which is now on the IE Sports Radio blog site, as Mike Pat was able to promote it, and I kind of retweeted it through all three of my accounts: my personal account, the Set Point account, and the SoCal Supreme Sports Show account. Either way, that was a fun weekend last weekend, and I hate to have missed SoCal Supreme Sports Show last week, but I kind of forewarned y'all. But I am back, and I'm happy to be back. So that is that for Teran's weekend away from SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I miss doing SoCal Supreme Sports Show, I'm not going to lie. But it's time we move on. Let's move on to some MLB, as basically the Dodgers have been ripping everybody a new one. But before we get on into that, we do actually have to pay tributes to Vin Scully. I want to say it was not last week. I think it was last week. But something sad happened. Vin Scully passed away. And I was very sad. And most of my friends that were Dodgers fans were saddened by this as well. So, and me personally, I was quite sad, and so was my brother. He actually wanted to do a tribute to Vin Scully, as he wanted to talk about it, but unfortunately our schedules kind of didn't really coincide with one another, and he didn't really get his message out to me. But I'm sure my brother paid tribute to Vin Scully, as he actually did post something on Instagram, and I actually do want to read it, as no, that's not it. I promise you I'm going to try to find it. And I guess he didn't really post it on Instagram. He posted it on Facebook, which is the site that no one really ever uses. So, thanks, Justin. Either way. But here's what my brother posted in regards to Vin Scully. Rest in peace, Vin Scully. Your voice was the soundtrack of my family's summer, from the Dodgers' inaugural season in LA in 1958 to your retirement in 2016, spanning 3 generations. I remember watching the Dodgers with my grandparents as a little kid, and just hearing Vin's warm voice calling the game while telling stories and even warm, lighthearted jokes. It was like having a third grandfather. He made me feel so special as a young baseball fan. I learned how the game of baseball was played with all the rules and fundamentals because of Vin. Vin's style of play-by-play was detailed, yet so easy to understand to a novice and a young, curious fan like myself. I became a baseball fan because of Vin, the same way I became a fan of basketball and the Lakers because of Chick Hearn as a little kid. Vin, you and Chick are the greatest broadcasters ever in the history of American sports. No one even comes close. Even the most famous play-by-play announcers on the national stage in all sports looked up to you. There will never ever be another. Rest in peace, legend. Hashtag rest in peace, Vin Scully. And that was a great little Facebook post by my brother. He deserves a round of applause for that real quick. Yeah, absolutely a great little piece that my brother wrote on Facebook, and yeah, it was very heartbreaking to get this news, but he was up there in age. He was 95, which, boy howdy, the fact that he lived that long, and the fact that I think he had some health problems, but the fact that he was able to basically live to being that age and to call Dodgers games is quite amazing. So let's take ourselves a quick little moment of silence to remember Vin Scully and all of his amazing memories as the Dodgers broadcaster, and more importantly, all his broadcast memories in general, as well as Vin Scully, the human being himself. Thank you. Thank you, Vin, for all that you did for us. Thank you for everything. You will be gone. You are gone, but never forgotten, and we will never ever forget a living legend like you. May you rest in everlasting peace. And with that out of the way, let's get on into that Dodgers action. So, I hate to say this, but ever since the Vin's passing, the Dodgers have been pretty much they haven't lost a game ever since they first got word of Vin's passing. I'm not trying to say that it's a good thing. I'm saying that it's like the Dodgers are playing for Vin Scully, and it's freaking amazing. Like, they got word of his passing on, I want to say it was Tuesday, if not Wednesday. Either way, yeah, it was Tuesday as the Dodgers beat the Giants 9-5. Like, the Dodgers swept that 4-game series against the Giants in San Francisco. So the fact that the Dodgers won that series was quite amazing. And the Dodgers even followed that up with a 3-game sweep over the San Diego Padres as they won 8-1, 8-3, and 4-0. I should also make note of the other scores from the Giants game as the Dodgers won Game 1 8-2, they won Game 2. The Dodgers won Game 1 8-2, Game 2 9-5, Game 3 3-0, and Game 4 5-3. Then the Dodgers followed that up with a 2-game sweep over the Minnesota Twins as they won the first game 10-3 and the second game 8-5. And yesterday, the Dodgers beat the Kansas City Royals 8-3. Currently, right now, the Dodgers are up 8-2 over the Kansas City Royals, as they should be beating that team. There's no excuse on why they shouldn't beat that team. Like, there's no more of this losing to bad teams crap. No more losing to teams like the Pirates, teams like the Nationals. No offense, Mike Pat. Either way, no more losing to these subpar teams. So the Dodgers are really impressing, if you ask me. So I really am quite impressed on how the Dodgers have been playing. I feel they can go really deep in the playoffs. Everyone's biggest concern are the Mets. Everyone is saying, well, the Mets are a whole different team. This is a new culture, blah, 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 blah. Well, when I see the Mets in the playoffs and when I see them actually doing good, then I will become a believer. I don't really fear the Mets all that much. I feel the Dodgers might match up well with them. Here's my thing, though. The Dodgers, to me, are kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Not as of late, but as a whole this entire season. I feel the Dodgers can go toe-to-toe with anybody. I mean, everyone was raving about how the San Diego Padres got this big deal, and I guess that's a perfect segue to go into the Padres, as the Padres, they had some good, some bad, and some ugly. As the Padres acquired Juan Soto and Josh Bell, which is quite nice, as the Padres had to send away C.J. Abrams, Robert Hazel III, James Wood, and Harlan Susana. So, all that just to get Juan Soto and Josh Bell, that is quite amazing. And they already are good with Manny Machado, so dude, like, the San Diego Padres were loaded, and everyone was saying, who are you going to pitch to when it comes to the San Diego Padres lineup? And it's like, no. The Dodgers have something to say about that. And the Dodgers swept the Padres. So I'm not trying to be a bully toward the Padres. I'm happy the Padres acquired Juan Soto. And I'm also happy they got Josh Bell and they're making modifications to become a playoff caliber team. However, remember, everyone is still calling the Dodgers-Padres a rivalry. The Padres have only won, one game this year against the Dodgers? It's not a rivalry until you start winning. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Like, the Padres are 16 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. So, yeah. And last I checked, the Padres unfortunately had a major collapse last year when trying to vie for a wild card spot. But I'm going to digress and stop being a big bully to the Padres. Anyway, back to the Dodgers. Now they're up 10-2 in the top of the fourth inning as Max Muncy hit a 2-run home run, which scored Will Smith as well as himself. So, yeah, the Dodgers are starting to roll. I hate to say this, and it's a little early to say this, but I hope the Dodgers can really continue their strong ways into the postseason. That is what truly matters. Like, they can win all the games they want in the regular season, but when it comes to postseason time, they have to, I repeat, have to win when the iron is hot. They have to win when it truly matters. Like, no excuses. Anyway, so the Dodgers have one more game against the Kansas City Royals, and then they have a 4-game series at the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Brewers, at the moment, are, I wouldn't say in the driver's seat when it comes to their division, but it's still fairly good if you ask me. Like, no, they're not even close in the driver's seat. They're 1.5 games back of the St. Louis Cardinals, but that division is a 2-horse race between them and the Cardinals, in my opinion. So the NL Central could be up for grabs, but for the time being, I'd kind of go put my money on the Brewers, but it still remains to be seen. Anyway, back to the Dodgers. Yeah, I feel I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but I feel the Dodgers' 4-game stretch against the Brewers, I feel their winning streak is eventually going to come to a close during that stretch. And then following that, the Dodgers have a 3-game series next weekend on Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Miami Marlins. And then following that, they have a 3-game homestand against the Milwaukee Brewers at the Chavez Ravine. The big series, what is truly going to matter, is a 3-game series? Yeah, 3-game series on August 30th, 31st, and September 1st against the New York Mets. That could be a way too early and very possible National League Championship battle preview. So I really think that's going to be fun times right there. I honestly wish that could be on like national TV. I don't think the Dodgers get any more national TV games, as their last one came against the Padres, which was last Sunday. And I got to see chunks of it when it came to being at the hotel that I stayed at. But either way, the Dodgers are really doing well, and I'm glad they're winning for Vin, and I think that's kind of their little like MO, win for Vin. And I think he's smiling on the Dodgers as of right now, and I hope they can continue their winning ways. And I kind of pay tribute to Vin Scully as well when it came to his passing, as I went on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show Twitter account, and I basically wrote a little piece about Vin Scully, as first and foremost, I thought this was just a trick. I was like, are people are pulling my leg again? But it was indeed true, unfortunately, as I pay tribute by saying I'm just happy Vin Scully got to witness the Dodgers winning a World Series as a fan before his passing. Vin gave Dodgers fans and baseball fans alike countless memories. Vin is no longer in any pain, and he's broadcasting tonight's game up in heaven. Rest easy, Vin. That was my little tribute on the SoCal Supreme Sports Show Twitter account, and I feel that was a nice little tribute in like a certain amount of characters, if you ask me. So overall, rest in everlasting peace, Vin, and the Dodgers are just clicking on all cylinders. I'm hoping they can keep it up, though, but it's looking good as of late. So jumping on over to the Padres. So the Padres, as of late, they have kind of found some footing after they got swept by the Dodgers, as following their 3 games after getting swept by the Dodgers, they took 2 out of 3 against the Giants, as the first game they lost was 1-0 last Monday, and then this past Tuesday the Padres beat the Giants 7-4, and then they beat the Giants 13-7 last Wednesday. And then yesterday they beat the Washington Nationals 10-5, as currently right now the Padres are up 3-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Padres have themselves quite the I wouldn't say easy schedule, but it's a favorable schedule as they close out the series against the Nationals in Washington tomorrow. Then the Padres head down to the 305 as they play the Miami Marlins on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday upcoming. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of next week, they have a 4-game series against the Nationals. And then they have a 2-game series against the Guardians following that. The 3-game series at Kansas City following that. And then they have a 3-game series against the San Francisco Giants. And then they follow that up with a 3-game series at the Chavez Ravine against Los Dodgers. So for the time being, the Padres have some ground to make up, and I say some ground to make up, but they have way too much ground to make up. I don't see them winning the NL West. The Dodgers would have to go on a major collapse in order to lose the NL West crown. What is kind of noteworthy when it comes to the National League wild card is that they are the third-place team in said National League wild card race, as the race is getting quite tight, as the first wild card team in the NL wild card is the Atlanta Braves, followed by the Philadelphia Phillies. That is a team that has risen from the grave. Like, I remember when they took on the Angels, and I think they were on a losing streak of their own, as well as the Angels, and then they swept them, and look at them now. So currently, San Diego is the third wild card team. They are 2 games ahead of the Milwaukee Brewers. So between the Braves, Phillies, Padres, and Brewers, those are the 4 teams that are going to be vying for a wild card spot. The Braves are probably the team that most teams do not want to face, especially after what they did last year. The Phillies, on the other hand, they are kind of that hot and cold team. I feel they have what it takes to make the playoffs. I'm just surprised that they were able to make it. That they've come back all the way back from firing their manager and all that to basically being the second wild card team. And then the Padres, while they do have the last wild card spot, I think that they still have some more turmoil. For instance, they do not have Fernando Tatis Jr., who is still out with injury. But that injury is now the least of their worries. Yes, they added Juan Soto and Josh Bell, but something that happened yesterday, oh boy. Something that happened yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, was not good for the Padres, as Fernando Tatis Jr. violated the MLB's performance-enhancing drug policy. So, unfortunately, he is getting a whopping, get this everybody, he is getting a whopping 80-game suspension this season. 80 games. When the Padres have, if I'm doing my math correctly, they've won 64 games plus 51. That is a grand total of 115. So he's out the rest of the season just because by the time the Padres reach 162, I don't think he'll be back even for the playoffs. And he still has to work his way back when it comes to injury. Like, dude, this was almost going to be Dumb of the Week, but that's not even dumb. That's just illogical. The fact that he violated the team's performance-enhancing drug policy was absolute bad. It was just bad, dude. I'm sorry, but it was just not good. Not smart. Like, you're jeopardizing your team's possibility of even making the playoffs now, because remember, the Padres are clinging to a playoff spot. They're the third wildcard team in the National League, and they're only 2 games up on the Brewers. Like, the Cardinals have taken control of the NL Central for the time being, and then the NL East has kind of been a bloodbath with the Mets, Phillies, and Braves. So the fact that Fernando Tatis Jr. made this bad of a decision is really horrible. It's not good, man. It's really, really not good. So, poor San Diego. They can't have good things in this world. Why? Because they're San Diego. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, San Diego fans. Don't take it the wrong way. Okay. So, yeah, it's quite fortunate that the Padres got busted, but it is what it is. As Larry B pops in the chat room, he says, T-Rod. Funny thing is, Larry, that's actually my nickname when it comes to BS3 radio, and some people call me T-Rod. So, LB, how you doing, buddy? So, now that Larry B pops in the chat room, I have to, unfortunately, discuss the Angels, which... I'll give the Angels this, though. They won a series. They not only won the series, but they swept a series. They swept, get this everybody, get this. The Angels, as of recent, they swept the Oakland A's. Yeah, they swept the Oakland A's. As, are we really going to celebrate that? No. Yeah, that's not really all that great. They're the worst team in the American League, and they're the second worst team in the entire league in general. So, recapping that amazing 3-game sweep over the Athletics, the Angels won 1-0 this past Monday. And get this, everybody, the Angels beating the Oakland A's that day marked the first time the Angels won a game when scoring one or fewer runs. As I guess someone made a joke on Twitter saying that the Angels were one in God knows how many games they've lost when scoring one or fewer runs. So it's like, I'm glad the Angels at least have a win when it comes to that category. But anyway, second game, the Angels won 5-1, and then the third and final game, the Angels won 5-4 in 12 innings. And bear in mind, this was at Oracle Park, I want to say. I think that's where the Oakland A's play. Oakland Coliseum, so my apologies. So, yeah, I think that's, maybe I'm thinking of the Giants of where they play. But either way, that's the sweep over the Mariners. And the previous series, the Angels took 2 out of 3 against the Mariners as they won 4-3 last Friday. And then in a doubleheader, actually no, they split their 4 games as the Angels won on Friday in 10 innings, 4-3. They lost 2-1 in the first game of a doubleheader, and then they won the second game of the doubleheader 7-1. The Angels then wound up dropping the final game of the 4-game series against the Mariners 6-3, which is kind of a win, but it didn't really help them out all that much. So, as of right now, and as of yesterday, the Angels started a 3-game series at home against the Minnesota Twins. They lost the first game yesterday 4-0, as tonight, in approximately 26 minutes, the Angels will be playing the Minnesota Twins tonight and tomorrow. The Angels then have a 3-game series against the Seattle Mariners, and then they have a 3-game series against the Detroit Tigers, and then who just recently fired their manager, mind you. And then the Angels have a 4-game series following that 3-game series against the Tigers, against the Tampa Bay Rays. So, overall for the Angels, they're not really gaining ground when it comes to making the wild card. We gotta eliminate playoffs from the vocabulary of the Angels ASAP. They're not gonna catch up to the Mariners, Blue Jays, and the Rays. So, I hate admitting it, but it's the truth. So, just please end the season soon, Angels. Make it quick and painless for us Angels fans. It's just sad. It really is sad that their season is basically come down to this. So that is that for the baseball portion of the show. Now that I speak about teams getting eliminated from playoff contention, the Sparks, as we jump over to the WNBA, just recently got eliminated from playoff contention as, oh my god, the entire month of August has been completely ugly. We gotta take it back to Tuesday, August 2nd, when the Sparks got spanked by the New York Liberty 102-73. Then the following day, they actually had a 2-game stretch in New York against the Liberty. They lost that one 64-61. I want to say the Sparks were actually leading after 3 quarters, and they were. Unfortunately, the Sparks only put up 11 points, not just in the fourth quarter, but the third quarter as well, while the Liberty decided to actually turn it on in the third and fourth quarter, as they outscored the Sparks by 14 points. That was disgusting. It really was disgusting. And following that loss, keep in mind the Liberty were in the playoff hunt as well, along with the Sparks. Following that loss, the Sparks lost to the Atlanta Dream, which was another pivotal loss, losing 88-86, as of all the teams to lose to, you lost to the Dream, and they lost in very close fashion, as Cheyenne Parker scored a bucket in the final second of the game to basically seal the deal. So, yeah, very sad. However, there was some optimism for the Sparks as they edged out the Washington Mystics 79-76. It was, however, funny thing was is that the Sparks, it looked as if the Sparks had fouled a 3-point shooter, but fortunately for the Sparks, they got a little help from VAR/instant replay, unlike the NWSL, as basically time ran out on the Mystics before they can get the shot up, which nullified the foul and forced the game to be over. So, yeah, the Mystics, I feel for them, but they've already locked up a playoff spot. But even in that game, the Sparks played so bad, man. The Sparks did not play that good. And then in the 2-game stretch that they most recently had this week, they lost to the Connecticut Sun 97-71 on Tuesday. And on Thursday, the Sparks lost to the Sun 93-69, which basically bounced them from playoff contention, which I basically sounded off on Twitter, and I did not hold anything back. I said, this is very sad. The Los Angeles Sparks, who were a perennial playoff team, who were basically fixated into the playoffs, have now missed the playoffs twice in a row in back-to-back seasons. This time, however, it was because of off-the-court drama, obviously with Derek Fisher getting fired, and then having Fred Williams take over, and then Liz Cambridge getting released because she just had a contract buyout. So it really was this is really sad for these Sparks. And what's even worse is that the Sparks are veering toward becoming the second worst team in the WNBA this season, as them as well as the Indiana Fever are both eliminated from playoff contention. And it's sad because the Sparks they're probably one of the longest running teams in the WNBA, and they pretty much are just losing, and it's sad. I really think that this team is much better than this. With all the talent they have, they need to have players that actually care, and Davidson Crooks, with running the Fast Break account, said it best. The Sparks need players that actually care to show up, and they also need to have everyone on the same level, on the same page. And for me, I just think that the Sparks look checked out. I think they just checked out of the season. Like, their bodies were there, but their minds weren't. As the Sparks looked checked out on the court, and they looked like their minds were checked in to a hotel in Cancun. It's really sad, honestly. So it's very disappointing as the Sparks close out the season against the Dallas Wings. The Dallas Wings, unlike the Sparks, have clinched a playoff spot as they will be the 6th seed in the WNBA playoffs, as they'll most likely draw the Connecticut Sun. But either way, Sparks won't be in the playoffs, which is very sad. And man, I'm very heartbroken. This is disappointing. The Sparks on paper have a very good team, but now they have just gone to the dogs. And I don't like it one bit. So that's basically that for the Sparks. I would go even further hard on them, but honestly, I don't want to. I really don't want to be that much of a dick, just because these are paid professionals. But it's just disappointing as a fan. Like, as a fan, I really want the Sparks to succeed. But it's tough for them to succeed when they have players that don't care, players that have contract buyouts, and coaches getting fired early in the season. So overall, the Sparks need to make changes, and they need to dump out the players that don't care, and they also need to get a world-class head coach. Not that I have a problem with Fred Williams, but honestly, they need someone that's like super legit. So that is that for the WNBA portion of the show. Actually, no. I was going to take myself a quick little commercial break, but we're actually going to jump into some NWSL. So remember how the LA Galaxy were the ones that kind of hurt me when it came to soccer? Well, I hate to tell you all this, but Wave FC kind of took that title from their noses. As last weekend, or this past Sunday, Wave FC lost to Kansas City 2-0. And unfortunately, the Kansas City Current, I hate to say this, but I think the Wave FC pulled an LA Galaxy. They fell behind 2-0 in the first half, and they didn't score till late in the second half as I'm going to probably pronounce her name wrong, Amira Ali scored in the 88th minute, but it was pretty much way too little, far too late, as Wave lost that one. And that loss really hurt them because, guess what? The Portland Thorns lost last week. They lost last Friday they didn't lose. They tied with Carolina 3-3. They tied with the Carolina Courage, as that win could have been really handy for Wave, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Currently, San Diego rests in third place in the NWSL standings. Remember, only the top 6 teams make the playoffs, and seeds 1 and 2 get a first-round bye. So, if the playoffs start today, Wave FC would have to take on the OL Reign, which isn't bad, but why not have a first-round bye or bye to the semifinals? And a team that's really kind of stepped it up is Houston, even though they just tied with Louisville yesterday. So that's still 1 point that Wave FC didn't get last week. So this week, San Diego plays Orlando at Torero Stadium. At 7:30. This would be a perfect time for Wave FC to win a match. They have to win, as they're only 2 games back of Portland. They have to gain ground tonight. They have to. If they tie, cool, but I want them to win. I really want them to win. No more ties, no more losing. Wave FC, you have to represent San Diego. The Padres are in disarray. I don't know who else is in San Diego other than that, but the Padres are in disarray. There's no way San Diego State is winning a national championship unless I'm proven wrong. Otherwise, you have to bring home obviously a pro championship to San Diego. And yes, I understand the indoor lacrosse team from San Diego, the San Diego Seals, brought home a championship. I get it, but I don't think they're really professional, honestly. I will make note of that following the NWSL segment, but San Diego Wave FC, please win tonight. You are facing an Orlando team who rests in 8th place. They are in playoff contention, and they're right behind the Angel City FC for 7th place, as their goal differential is actually quite 14 goals allowed. Yikes. And Orlando actually tied Angel City last Sunday 2-2. Which the Angel City really missed a golden opportunity, as, believe it or not, Orlando actually scored on an own goal from the Angel City in the 90th minute, which, yikes. Like, Angel City just can't catch a break. I'm just going to throw that out there right now before swinging it back to Wave FC. But San Diego really has to win this game. They really have to win this match, just because it's going to get tougher from here on out. Their next two games are against Houston and Portland. If they win one, if not both of those games, or if they don't lose either of those games, they're in good shape. What would really, really help is if they beat Portland, because Portland has not lost a match since May. That's how hot Portland has become. I'm still livid at the fact that San Diego got robbed of a win because of no VAR, no instant replay, none of that, because the NWSL can't have that. I'm still livid at that, and because of that, San Diego is 3 points out of the hole, or 2 points out of the hole of first place. Anyway, right now San Diego has to get through tonight because they should enjoy playing at Teran Stadium, because after they play at Teran Stadium, they are going to play another game at Teran Stadium against Houston, and then they have to head down to Portland to play the Thorns. San Diego then closes out the regular season in September against Washington, Angel City, Orlando, and Carolina. So for Wave to pretty much lock up a playoff spot and to possibly lock up a top 2 spot, they pretty much have to run the table. But they can't underestimate Angel City again, just because it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen. And Angel City is fighting for a playoff spot as well. So, yeah. San Diego has to basically get back on track tonight, because they need all the momentum they can get. Otherwise, it's going to get tougher and tougher to slow down a hot Houston Dash and Portland Thorns team. Speaking of Angel City, they currently rest in 7th place, as they are basically on the outside looking in. Tomorrow, they are home at the Bank of California Stadium against the Chicago Red Stars. Huge game right there, because A, Chicago is a playoff team. Currently, they are 4th in the NWSL standings. And B, Angel City needs all the wins that they can get, because remember, they don't have Kristen Press, and it's not going to get any easier. Although they do have, well, no, Kansas City actually, believe it or not, that win over, that Kansas City loss to San Diego not only helped Portland and Houston, but it helped Kansas City with their playoff chances, as Kansas City is in the top 5. They're in the top 6. They're currently 5th in the NWSL standings, though they are down 2-1 to the Carolina Courage. Back to Angel City FC. Yeah, Angel City's going to have their hands full, as they've got Chicago next week, and then they're on the road against Kansas City, and then they have Gotham to close out the month of August. So, in order for Angel City to make the playoffs, they're going to have to pull off one of these upsets. If they win one and draw one, that also helps as well. But overall, they're going to need to start winning. I know they are beaten up. I know it has been tough sledding for them. But for Angel City, they have to, I repeat, have to find some wins sooner rather than later. Because the loss to OL Reign really hurt them as well. Like, Angel City was up 2-0 for a good chunk of the match, as they actually led 2-0 heading into halftime, and then the second half was just all OL Reign, as the Reign basically took that match 3-2, and they didn't even really need goals in the extra time. So for Angel City, they have to basically come up big in this match. Ever since the win over San Diego, they haven't really seen a win ever since. So I think it's high time Angel City starts picking up some wins sooner rather than later. So that is going to do it for the NWSL portion of the show. We're actually going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, I have some MLS to discuss, and then also I have some NFL to discuss, and then I'll also discuss the San Diego Seals and how they won their championship. Either way, keep it locked here. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after a word from these drops.
Some say that Indiana is just a flyover state. Flatlands and cornfields, barns and country roads. What if I told you Indiana is the crossroads of America? What if I told you in all other states, basketball is just basketball? In Indiana, basketball is life. Crowded high school basketball gyms on a Friday night, and every barn with a basketball rim and a frayed, worn-out net. If you're interested in the heartbeat of America, and if you're interested in sports, if you have Hoosier running through your veins, the Crossroads Pod with Aaron X is made for you. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Each and every week, the Crossroad Pod covers all of Indiana sports. The pride of the horseshoe of the Indianapolis Colts. The blue-collar gold swagger of the Indiana Pacers. The relentless pursuit of the sixth banner for the Indiana Hoosiers. The swing of the hammer of the Purdue Boilermakers. The swoop of the Cardinals of Ball State. The summoning of the echoes of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The growl of the Bulldogs of Butler. The intensity of an Indiana fever. The chop of the Indianapolis Indians. At the Crossroads Pod, if it is Indiana, we've got you covered. More than cornfields. More than country back roads. The Crossroads of America. Join me, Aaron X, every week. It's nothing but net.
Are you a fan of Buffalo sports? Are you thinking of changing loyalties and becoming a Buffalo sports fan? Do you even know where Buffalo is on the map? Did you know Canada is closer to Buffalo than New York City? Welcome to the Buffalo Huddle, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I'm your host, Patty Bax. This is a podcast designed for you, the passionate sports fan. I know you love your sports. Who doesn't? I cover Buffalo sports and so much more by bringing in the human elements. I call it Buffalo sports with a twist. Join me as we take a journey into the world of Buffalo sports. I guarantee you'll fall in love with Buffalo just like I did. Each week we start with an inspiration, question of the day, a Buffalo fun fact, and our weekly challenge to you, the listener. Come huddle up with me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 4 p.m. Pacific Coast Time for the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Bax on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. As we say in Buffalo, go Bills!
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour, every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter, at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always willing to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
That is right, everyone. Definitely do check out all of our shows. Those 3 shows that just played, the Crossroads Pod, the Buffalo Huddle, and Sin City Sports, they're all new shows. Definitely do give them a listen. Definitely do show love to Patty Bax and the Buffalo Huddle, Aaron X, and the Crossroads Pod, and Sin City Sports with Cale Henderson. We are back here with the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. Jumping back into Southern California sports action, I was going to promise you all that I would discuss the San Diego Seals winning the National Lacrosse League. And this is actually box lacrosse. So, for those of you that don't know, I actually used to cover high school lacrosse for a website called MaxLax as sorry. So, for me, that was kind of something special. Unfortunately, MaxLax kind of went 6 feet under in 2021 last year, after a 9-year span. So, for those that are wondering what the NLL is, or the National Lacrosse League, it actually has 14 teams, 9 in the United States and 5 in Canada, as the NLL ranks 3rd in average attendance for pro indoor sports worldwide, only behind the NHL and the NBA. So, that's quite good if you ask me. And unlike other box lacrosse leagues which play in the summer, the NLL plays its games in the winter and spring from December all the way to June, and then the teams battle for the NLL League, the NLL Cup, which has averaged actually 8,900 to 10,700 spectators per game each year since 2004, which is quite nice. So overall, it's really quite amazing if you ask me, and the fact that the San Diego Seals were able to win a championship was quite nice, if you ask me. So, it was actually the second straight championship for the San Diego Seals, or the second straight cup for the Seals, as it's amazing that they were able to win it, and I feel that they were able to basically come up big, so yeah, and Mike says, lacrosse, nice. Yes, I was a lacrosse reporter for MaxLax, and like I said, unfortunately it disbanded back last year. It went strong for 9 years as a couple lacrosse dads put together the website to expand all throughout Orange County, and then all through LA, and then it suddenly took off. But unfortunately, due to COVID, it kind of kicked its butt, and even when I tried to keep the website going by doing stories to the best of my ability, unfortunately, it was just not meant to be, which is saddening. But it's all good. It really is all good, and I feel that I will persevere, and eventually I will survive when it comes to this. Sorry about that. So, it really is quite amazing that the San Diego Seals did lock up this championship, this Pro Box League championship. As actually it was the National Collegiate Box Series championship. So it wasn't the NLL, it was the National Collegiate Box Series. So my apologies. I remember that the NLL was actually won by the Colorado Mammoth, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, my apologies. But it's all good. So, as I was mentioning before, San Diego still needs that Pro Sports Championship to kind of be relevant in the sports world, but they have not gotten it yet. Though it is good that the San Diego Seals are kind of making San Diego relevant. I mean, they have the Padres, but they're kind of going down a downward spiral because of this whole Fernando Tatis thing. And then Wave FC is kind of the only pro San Diego team that's actually doing something good at least. It's just all about them trying to put it together. So, that aside, let us jump into some MLS action. And oh boy, I gotta unleash. I really have to unleash when it comes to the MLS. First and foremost, however, the LAFC continues to do good things. They are what's making MLS fun when it comes to Southern California. It really is fun. As tonight at the Bank of California Stadium, LAFC play Charlotte FC. Last week, LAFC defeated Real Salt Lake 4-1, and while they did lose to America in this whole World 2022 Cup friendly gameplay, it's World Cup match. I'm sorry, no, it's just 2022 club friendly match. But Club America did beat LAFC in penalty kicks. But that's no big deal. I mean, LAFC is better off losing those games than they are losing their MLS games. Like currently right now, LAFC has won, I want to say they've won 5 in a row. It's 5 in a row ever since they lost to Vancouver. Ugh, I can't believe they lost to Vancouver. Man. Anyway, LAFC, like I said, they play Charlotte FC tonight. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Just because Charlotte is kind of, even though they've kind of taken a tumble down the MLS standings, they're kind of what was making Charlotte/Carolina relevant. Not that I'm saying that Carolina isn't relevant, but they've got the Panthers, they've got Charlotte FC, they've got the Hornets. And Charlotte FC at the time was doing good, but then they've kind of taken a tumble. Ever since they fired their manager, which made zero sense because the team was actually doing good. So I really don't understand what the heck is going on with Charlotte FC. It's an expansion team, though, so you can't really predict what they're going to do regardless of their record. I mean, the Galaxy learned that the hard way, but more on them later. So LAFC returns to action following that match on Tuesday against DC United. That's an interesting midweek game, and that smells trap game right there, just because the next matchup following DC United is a road trip to San Jose to take on the San Jose Quakes. That has rivalry game written all over it, even though San Jose has not really been the best when it comes to matches this season, as San Jose is second toward the bottom in the Western Conference. But that could also be a trap game, as LAFC, following that matchup against San Jose, plays Austin FC 6 days after on the 26th. And that is a big-time match, just because even though LAFC is kind of running away with the... I wouldn't say running away with the Western Conference. They're in first place, but Austin is right behind them with 45 points. LAFC has 51 points, and honestly, LAFC has a big target on their back, and Austin wants to be that team that wants to stand up to them. It's like the little kid standing up to the big bully on the playground. That's kind of what I describe Austin. But if LAFC continues to click with players such as Gareth Bale, just to name one, I really think no one's going to be taking down this LAFC squad. It's really amazing that this team just looks so good. Like, this team is probably built to win now. I'm not sure about that statement, but honestly, look at the players that they have. They have Carlos Vela, Christian Arango, Latif Blessing, Kellen Acosta. It's just freaking amazing, man. Like, LAFC is ready to win the MLS Cup right now. And I can't wait to see what they have in store for the rest of the season. As I also should mention Jose Cifuentes. So I really can't wait to see what LAFC has in store for us. While LAFC has been doing great when it comes to the MLS, unfortunately, little brother of this season, the LA Galaxy, has been doing absolutely atrocious. So, last Wednesday, they actually managed to win a game. Yay! As they won a game that doesn't mean anything toward their record. As they won a 2022 club-friendly match against Guadalajara, winning 2-0. So that's the good news for the Galaxy. And they could build off that, right? Not quite. So the previous game before that Guadalajara match, they actually lost 1-0 to Dallas. And in their most recent MLS game, the Galaxy lost to the worst team in the Western Conference, Sporting KC, by a score of 4-2. Yeah, the LA Galaxy lost to Sporting KC, the worst team in the Western Conference, 4-2. Sickening. Absolutely sickening by the Galaxy. I can't believe they lost to a team of that Excalibur. They know damn well, excuse my French, they know damn well they can't afford a loss to a subpar team like that. It's the second half of their league, and now they are going down in a downward spiral. I really cannot believe this. That's horrible. You can't lose to a team like that. What's even worse was that the Galaxy did what they normally did, for the most part. They allowed 3 goals in one half. They tried to make it a game by coming back and scoring 2, and then this time around, they didn't just not score after that second goal. They allowed the other team to score. They made Sporting KC look like Sporting KC from last year. It's just downright embarrassing. It's like, dude, the Galaxy should have had a walk home because of that loss. I am sick to my stomach. I was sick when I saw that loss. It's like, are you joking me, dude? Like, I really was about to throw up when I got back to my hotel, but I did not want to. So, for the Galaxy, this is just bad, because now currently they rest at 9th place in the Western Conference. They have quite a bit of ground to make up, and they're not too far back of Portland and Seattle, as well as Nashville, which have 33 and 32 points respectively. But the Galaxy losing that game did not do them any favors, as they could have still been at worst 8th in the Western Conference, but they at least could have been keeping pace with Nashville and Portland. But now the Galaxy are behind, which is absolutely disgusting. The Galaxy do return to the Dignity Health Sports Park against Vancouver tonight. So, looking at the standings, Vancouver is 11th in the Western Conference. I don't know what to tell y'all, except the Galaxy have to win. They have to win. They have to win now. Next week, they are playing Seattle at Dignity Health. And then the next game, which will be in 9 days following the Seattle Sounders, they hit the road to Boston, or Massachusetts, to take on the New England Revolution. Now, the Revolution haven't really been great as of late. They're 10th in the Eastern Conference. And then Toronto is their final match of the month of August. But my goodness, the Galaxy have a plate full of possible wins. Even the Sounders can possibly be a win. The thing is, can they actually show up? After seeing their loss against Sporting KC, I kind of have to question if they're actually going to be material to close out the second half. Like, this always seems to happen to the Galaxy. The Galaxy have a strong start to the first half of the MLS season. Everyone thinks it's going to be playoffs for the Galaxy. Second half, they look absolutely atrocious. They keep going down, and overall, it's just sickening, dude. So, in order for the Galaxy to actually make the playoffs, they actually have to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. If they keep losing to these subpar teams like the Rapids, the Sporting KC, and all those other teams that I mentioned, like Toronto, New England, and Vancouver, the playoffs will not be featuring the Galaxy. I'm no soccer expert, but I do know that losing to teams of Sporting KC's Excalibur is no good. And the Galaxy play Sporting KC to start the month of September. So, if the Galaxy have so many opportunities for points. They also play Colorado, they play San Jose, they play Vancouver again. They only play one team that's currently in the playoff standings, and that is Nashville in September. So the Galaxy are basically being handed a plate full of possible W's. Like, I want to say the Galaxy... Okay, well, the Galaxy... I was going to say the Galaxy are through the worst of their losses, but then in the month of October, they also have Real Salt Lake, and then they have Houston. But for the most part, they only play 3 teams that are currently in the playoff standings as of right now. Other than that, most of their opponents are teams outside of the playoffs. So, dude, if you are going to make a statement to make the playoffs, you have to do it now. Otherwise, I swear, I will rip the Galaxy even further. Because this is ridiculous, dude. You cannot be... You have good talent on your team. I get the Galaxy are nowhere near as talented as LAFC. But my God, dude. It's absolutely sickening to see the Galaxy just continue to do bad. Especially in the second half of the league. Like, I'm just concerned for them at this point. Like, it's just rough times being a Galaxy fan, but overall, there's still hope for them. It's just like I said, they only play 3 playoff teams on their remaining schedule, and then everyone else is not a playoff team, or currently not in the top 7. But overall, it's all about striking when the iron's hot. And even Seattle isn't really in the top 7, but technically they are very close to the top 7. They're probably the closest of any of the teams that aren't in the playoffs on the Galaxy schedule. So the Galaxy really have to come up big, and I really don't want to see the Galaxy missing the playoffs again. That's because everyone and their moms are basically going to throw their heads back and laugh at them. So in closing of this, the Galaxy have to start winning and start winning now. Otherwise, they can forget about the playoffs and they could just schedule a trip to Cancun. See what I care. Anyway, that's going to do it for the MLS portion of the show. We're actually going to take one more commercial break. And when we come back, we have the Chargers to preview. Chargers and the Rams. And then we also have the Dum-Dums of the week. You are listening to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that sports. We'll be right back after this.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back with the final segment of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that sports. We saved the best for last. We have the NFL as we have Chargers versus Rams in preseason action tonight. I know it's preseason, and you're probably going to hear me saying, it's just preseason, it doesn't matter. Well, first of all, yes, it does. It kind of does. We're getting some sort of football, and I'm glad we get to see the Rams versus the Chargers yet again. I won't be fully invested in these in this preseason game, but I will be interested to see how the Chargers and the Rams do when it comes to their reserves. Obviously, we're probably going to see Chase Daniel and Easton Stick start for the Chargers, and then I think John Wolford is starting for the Rams. I want to say he's still backup QB for the Rams. Either way, we're going to see the reserves. I'd be shocked to see some of these teams, or either teams, playing their starters. Like, I'm seeing some of these players, or some of these teams, like, start their starters. Like, today I saw the Chiefs start Patrick Mahomes, who eventually threw a touchdown to the fullback. And I don't know, man. I just feel that the Chargers and Rams should play it safe when it comes to not playing their starters. And this is why I feel preseason is risk versus reward. Yes, there are players fighting for playoff spots, but it also can be a risk factor just because some of your best players could get hurt. Take, for example, Zach Wilson of the New York Jets. He hurt his knee in a non-contact injury, and he was fortunate to only be out for 2 to 4 weeks, which I think is the best case scenario for the Jets. Because now, what was looking like it could be a possible season-ending injury, it's now going to be just a 2 to 4 week thing. Like, if anything, Zach Wilson's just going to be missing week 1 of the NFL season, but I digress on that. So as for the Chargers and the Rams, I'm really looking forward to this preseason matchup. I plan to watch a good chunk of it. I really think it's going to be fun to see the Rams and the Chargers. But what's truly going to matter when it comes to the Rams and Chargers is Week 17. And I really hope the Rams and Chargers, when it comes to their Week 17 matchup, I hope that's still a primetime matchup. I hope that's still going to be on Sunday Night Football, because I don't want to see the Chargers get flexed out. I still remember 2019 when the Chargers-Vikings matchup got flexed out for something else just because the Chargers just couldn't do good that year. And it's sad because I would have liked to have seen Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins do battle. But then again, we probably would have seen Phillip Rivers play Make-A-Wish, but I digress on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing both LA teams, and I'm already seeing some jokes on Twitter. I'm already seeing that Rams personality or Rams fans are making jokes saying that keys still work even though they're away. So, whatever. I mean, I understand the Rams have won their Super Bowl and now they're the football city. They're the football team of Los Angeles. They're the true football team of Los Angeles. But it's only a matter of time before the Chargers do come knocking and breaking down that door, because they can't suck forever. That is my motto. You cannot suck forever, and Justin Herbert is going to make sure that the Chargers do not suck forever. even though everyone is and their moms are making note of the Chargers curse. But I digress. So that's basically your little NFL segment of the show. Again, the matchup is going to start at 7 p.m. I want to say it's not going to be on NFL Network. I think it's going to be on like national TV, like CBS or something along those lines. Either way, I'm still going to try to find it and look at the game. I'm not going to be heavily invested. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, the Chargers are losing. Like, what are they doing wrong? Like, this is actually something I saw on Twitter today. If you're concerned about your team after the first week of preseason, maybe football isn't for you. And that quote could not have been said any better. This is why I don't get heavily invested in preseason. Because if I get invested in preseason, I'm going to get judged, and then I'm eventually going to worry for nothing. I understand it's for job security and whatnot, but still, I really think people need to lighten up when it comes to preseason games. It's only preseason, and unless of course you're the Baltimore Ravens and you just care about winning every preseason game, as I think they've won like 37 games in a row in the preseason, you don't need to worry about preseason. Like, please don't worry about preseason. Okay? Okay. That's going to do it for the NFL portion of the show. Before we head on out, we do have the Dum Dum of the Week award to give out. The Dum Dum of the Week award is an award that I like to give out to a person or an organization. No one is safe from this award. Anyone can get the Dum Dum of the Week award. My neighbor can get the Dum Dum of the Week award. My neighbor's dog could get Dum Dum of the Week award. A random bird outside could get Dum Dum of the Week award. Either way, anyone can get Dum Dum of the Week award. So I have 2 Dum Dum of the Week awards to give out, and I actually have a mini Dum Dum of the Week award to give out. So the first mini Dum Dum of the mini Dum Dum of the Week award goes out to the Las Vegas Ramblers. Now, okay, I get it. This wasn't entirely their fault, but after the Las Vegas Ramblers won the NBA Cup, yes, because they used the word cup and not championship, the trophy unfortunately broke. They were all excited to have the trophy. The trophy broke, but it wasn't entirely their fault. And this actually happened last year when the Orange County Stunners won the NBA Cup. They kind of were aggressive with it. Well, I wouldn't say aggressive, but they were all happy with the trophy. And unfortunately, the trophy go break. So, unfortunately for the Ramblers, the trophy kind of, it's not like broken, but it's to the point where you're going to need like glue and tape. So the Las Vegas Ramblers get the mini Dum Dum of the Week award for unfortunately breaking the trophy and for being the second straight team that broke the NBA Gold Cup trophy for the second straight year. So maybe the NBA will try to make modifications of that next year. But as for the first Dum Dum of the Week award, so the first Dum Dum of the Week award, okay, hear me out here. This man, I don't know what's wrong with this person, but I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I shouldn't. So the first Dum Dum of the Week award goes out to someone who said something really, 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 really interesting and dumb. So Twitter in this world is not real life. Social media is not real life. However, this person decided to take to Twitter and basically post this picture of his biggest regret. And this person is Antonio Brown. He says, and I quote, "My biggest regret in my career doesn't involve calling my GM a quote-unquote cracker or showing up to Raiders camp late in a hot air balloon with frozen feet, or throwing rocks at that UPS driver. And it definitely doesn't involve taking my shirt off and doing a victory lap around the Jets stadium mid-game while throwing up deuces. My biggest regret," and this is what Antonio Brown says. Antonio Brown says, "My biggest regret is that I'll never get to see me, Antonio Brown, play a game live. Sure, I could watch the game afterwards, but I can't imagine what that was like for you all to see something like that. Like watching the Beatles and Jesus perform at Red Rocks." My man Antonio Brown said his biggest regret is that he'll never get to see himself play in a game live. Okay, first of all, how are you able to see yourself? Like, are you going to, clone yourself? It makes no sense. That is his biggest regret? Man, dude, it's I don't understand. This made me laugh a little bit, but it's dude, why would you even say something like that? It's the biggest regret is not seeing yourself live. What are you supposed to do? Create a cloning machine? I'm actually concerned for Antonio Brown. I feel this is a little too harsh, but you can't just say something that dumb. It's what your biggest regret is not watching yourself live. It's okay. I don't get Antonio Brown, man. But for Antonio Brown making that, whether he said that or whether someone else said that, I still think it's stupid. But knowing AB, he definitely said this. And Antonio Brown, I hate to do this, but I don't. You are this week's Dumb Dumb of the Week Award recipient number 1.
You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
All right. And the second Dumb Dumb of the Week Award, we're going to end this one out on a lighter note. And this one's not going to be sports related. So, for those of you that don't know, I actually watch America's Got Talent. I used to love watching America's Got Talent. Even back when, in the days of Piers Morgan and Sharon Osbourne, and even back in the day with Mel B and Howard Stern. Now, the 4 judges, yes, there are 4 judges now, are Howie Mandel, the obvious original judge of America's Got Talent, Heidi Klum, a former model and I guess now a TV personnel, Sofia Vergara, who I think is my favorite judge, in my opinion. Don't ask why. And then Simon Cowell, the former judge on America's Got Talent, who was big and mean. Anyway, so America's Got Talent is now in the live show. And you're probably wondering, when is the Dumb Dumb of the Week award going to get announced? Well, bear with me on this second one. So, the live shows America's Got Talent is in the live shows. And everyone is basically in the preliminary round in Las Vegas. And basically only 2 finalists go to, or 2 acts go to the finals, and then everyone else goes home. So there were 11 acts this past Tuesday. And if you're doing your math correctly, 9 of those acts go home. So there was this act. And boy howdy, this guy reminds me of Tone the Chief Rocka back in 2013 when he had that song B-O-O-T-Y. Basically, this guy by the name of Ben Lapidus, I think that's how it's pronounced, Ben Lapidus, he had this song called, I don't know the exact title of his song, but it was a song called Parmesan Cheese. The hook went, I always want more Parmesan, but I'm embarrassed. That was the hook. I always want more Parmesan, but I'm embarrassed. And going back to his tryouts, Ben Lapidus, he actually did some sort of different act. I guess he was singing, and then all the judges gave him the X, and then 4 X's, he's done. But for some reason, the judges all decided to give him a second chance, and he basically did his song of Parmesan. I always want more Parmesan, but I'm embarrassed. And all 3 out of the 4 judges basically took back their X and said, you're through to the next round. So he's basically through to the next round, and basically the judge has to make act cuts. And eventually they put Ben Lapidus into the live show. So Ben Lapidus is the next person up when it comes to his act, when it comes to the live show. At first he does some little somber song, basically, which I thought was pretty good at first, and then he stops like midway through the song, and then he says, "I'm the Parmesan cheese guy," and then he does a rock and roll version of his song called "I Always Want More Parmesan, But I'm Embarrassed," and obviously 3 out of the 4 judges give him an X. Sofia Vergara, Howie Mandel, and Simon Cowell give him the big X. Heidi Klum is the only judge that loves the Parmesan cheese guy, aka Ben. So, after the act, all the judges give their little take on Ben. Heidi loved it. Howie says, "I'm not lactose intolerant, but Ben makes me lactose intolerant." Simon says absolutely nothing. And Sophia, this is the Dum Dum of the Week award right here. Sofia Vergara says this sentence, and I quote, I was expecting something else, and I don't know," and this was the worst part of her little like thing, of her quote. "I don't know how you got here in the first place." Yeah, Sofia Vergara said, "I don't know how you got here in the first place." I will answer that question. First of all, you, the judges, were the ones that let him through. You were the ones that were basically doing tryouts, and you guys let him through, and you basically decided to give him a second chance after you guys buzzed him, after you all buzzed him, and you eventually decided to put him through to the live acts after making judge cuts, or act cuts. Either way, I can't believe she asked that question. At first, I wasn't even caring for it, but then it's like, listening back to what she had to say, saying, "I don't know how you got here in the first place." It's like, dude, you put him through to the next round. Like, you put him through many acts that probably could have gotten him, that probably could have gotten into the next round over him. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry, there are no such thing as silly statements, but that was probably the most silliest right there. And I could just give the Dum Dum of the Week award to Sofia Vergara, but I kind of got to give it to the entire judges, minus Heidi Klum, just because she was the only one that loved the act. But all of the judges were the ones that put Ben Lapidus through. They could have at least put him into the wild card pool, and he could have had to win his way through there, but you put him through to the live acts. He does his little Parmesan cheese song. You all buzz him. Only one judge likes him, and one judge decides to say, "I don't know how you got here." I'm sorry to say, I liked this Ben Lapidus guy, but the judges who were basically saying, "I don't know how you got here," and the judges that actually put him through, y'all are kind of the Dum Dum of the Week award. No offense, but it was first of all, to recap my second Dum Dum of the Week award, it was dumb that Sofia Vergara said, "I don't know how you got here." 2, it was dumb for the judges to even consider Ben to get a second chance. And 3, it was even more dumb for them to put Ben into the live acts as opposed to all of the other acts that were vying for a spot in the live acts show. But either way, the judges, minus Heidi Klum, so Howie Mandel, Simon Cowell, and Sofia Vergara, you 3 are the Dum Dums of the Week award recipient. And yeah, don't ever ask how an act got here in the first place, because FYI, you're the judges and you put him through.
That's so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
I know that Dum Dum of the Week award seems to be a little bit complicated, but it's like, you can't just say, "I don't know how you got here in the first place," when you were the ones that voted yes in the tryouts, and then you put him through when it came to act cuts. You can't just say that. I'm sorry, but Sofia Vergara is my favorite judge, but on America's Got Talent. Maybe a close second to, like, Howie Mandel. But it's like, you can't say things like that. It's like, you were the ones that put him through. I'm sorry. I know I'm making a huge deal of some dude singing about Parmesan cheese, but you can't just say, I don't know how you got here in the first place. But on that note, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. Without any further delay, let's get on out of here, because the Chargers and the Rams are coming on in about less than 20 minutes, and I got to get me some dinner. You dig? Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I really do appreciate you all tuning in. If you listen live, I appreciate you. If you listen on the playback, I appreciate you. If you listen at work, I appreciate you. If you listen at any time, any place, anywhere, I appreciate you. Definitely got to make note of this. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show will be returning to Fridays, but it will be on at noon Pacific time. Why? Because I'm a free man. I will not be working at the grocery store, and I will be able to have more time for SoCal Supreme Sports Show and other things on my own time. Also, next week is episode 100 of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show. I'm very excited for it just because it's episode 100. The fact that I have made it into the triple digits with this show, despite all the turmoil, despite all having to move the show around and having to cancel, it's amazing. So definitely keep it locked for the 100th episode of SoCal Supreme Sports Show. For everyone here at IE Sports Radio, this is Teran Rodriguez signing off. You all have yourself an amazing weekend. Enjoy the football that is back when it comes to all the teams in the NFL playing preseason. Enjoy all the SoCal sports. It's still sunburn season, so please do apply your sunblock. If you are sunburned, please apply aloe vera. I will see you all Monday for the Season 3 finale of Set Point. Have a great rest of the night, and remember, SoCal is for SoCal. Peace!